going on. So I think we're going to need a little public input.
Well, that was kind of where I was kind of going. Really, that was the reason I brought this up, because now's the time. I mean, this guy's asking for us to tell him to go out with RFPs.
Well, the one that you just mentioned, JR, of Frederica and Sea Island, I think would be very, very controversial. I mean, that
no, and I'm not saying that these will be. I'm just simply saying if you're going to go out for a concept drawing or get a concept RFP, I have no problem with it. I don't feel comfortable making the decision right here today that yes, that's what we're doing until we get a little public input on it. I mean, you know, and you might be 100% right. We might get 100% of the people who are all for it.
Well, I'm with you on that, and in fact, I'm going to ask Commissioner Murphy, you know, if you think you need to be talking to the public on the island to find out what they really want to do, you know, and
well, it gets back to one of the points that I think Peter made earlier. You know, it gets back to 50% of the people are going to want roundabouts, and the other 50% aren't going to want roundabouts. So, you know, what do you do then?
Well, if he's going to lay down in front of the bulldozer, or we don't let it bulldozer run over him, you know, I guess is the
that's the problem he's going to run into.
All right, you cleared, Dave? Yes, sir. All right, everybody else moving right along here.
yeah.
You're not clear.
There's no Commissioner Chairman. There's no clarity there. Yeah. Well, do you want to hold some town hall meetings to gauge the input from the community?
What he's talking about is coming back with a proposal for.
That's only this.
That's only that one, sir. The other two.
That's right. Yeah, the other two move forward. I think is what.
With a roundabout.
Didn't you?
That's
what he said.
That's what I said. But with all due respect,
no, I'm saying no matter which road it is, you got 4 proposed. We better get some public input before we decide what we're going to build at all 4 of those.
We have 3.
3 of those.
We're deferring on one.
I disagree with what you said, that the 2 you're proposing at East Beach, that a bunch of people are going to come out against it. I'm simply saying I think we need a little bit of public input before we start committing funds into engineering and design concepts on those roundabouts. That's all.
Peter, you want to do the town hall?
I mean, I absolutely no issue with that at all. I'm happy to do it. It's it comes down to the same sort of thing as as the data you derive from that. Really, it's like when the chief had a meeting, of 4 people at Community Church about a month and a half ago. Then we had 100 people the next night. Admittedly the release of information about the meeting was improved, but I don't know that's the scientific way to gauge.
I don't either. I agree.
But I'm happy to do it.
I agree with Commissioner Stembaugh and Commissioner Browning that the public needs input, but I mean, how are you going to gauge that input? I mean, because like I said, you're going to get some people are for it, some people are against it, some people don't care.
So. What I'd like to do is talk with Dave and his team and come back to you on a proposal for that public meeting. But, one possibility is to have some presentations before you receive public input. One presentation could be the folks at Pond to provide their input on why they suggested that we have the roundabouts. One presentation could be this guy from DOT, I forget his name, that came down here within the last year and talked about how roundabouts work. So it's an education process, not only again for us, but also for the public. So then when the public does comment, that it's not necessarily based on their feelings, but it's based on more scientific information, what the industry is doing in terms of roundabouts and how they can move the traffic. So that's just a suggestion.
Okay.
You mentioned roundabout. You're going to have some folks show up. I guarantee you, man.
You may not
You're
even
going to have
that
island show up.
You may not even have to have a town hall. Okay, there was discussions about a roundabout there at Frederica, and we were all getting flooded with emails and phone calls just because there was a discussion. I see reporters sitting in this room. There's going to be a discussion about this roundabout. As of 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'm expecting I'll probably start seeing emails pro and con for these roundabouts. I'm just saying, I, as a commissioner, at large, would like to get a little bit more public input from the folks over there about what they'd like to see before I say go forward and spend money.
I would too.
That's all I'm saying.
So
And
we're
I
just
think
gonna
it's
put you on hold for now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually think the reason it kind of all died out to worry about it was because we didn't designate roundabout specifically into SPLOST. So everybody was, okay, we got time to deal with that.
Yeah, and I'm with Peter on this one roundabout. I don't want to see us spend money to design a single lane.
Single lane.
And if it really is going to take a double, then we need to figure out where we're going to get money to accomplish that.
Yeah. I think if the roundabout is determined to be the thing to put there.
I don't think it's big enough.
If it's
I
two
think it's a double
lanes, then
lane.
it ought to be done right.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to come back later and put another lane in.
Right.
Correct.
So Dave, do you have a timetable? I mean, or is it just,
Just contingent of the slip. I mean, the roundabouts have been at East Beach Causeway are tied to the paving at East Beach Causeway. We're gonna pave East Beach Causeway when we do those two roundabouts, but we don't wanna pave the road and then come back
Then tear it
6
up.
months, a year later, and cut the road to put a roundabout in. So it delays our paving over there for that. And the Federica, Kings Way one, we can stop pavement there and we'll segregate that particular move. So we can get with, like Mr. Howard said, we can move forward with information and the UDOT guy that came down here, the safety guy was very important. And he left 3 things with me, okay? Roundabouts are safer. They're less asphalt for the amount of traffic you can put through, and they move traffic better. So you can put a bunch of lanes there, you actually increase the amount of asphalt. So for folks on the island that don't like a whole lot of asphalt and don't want their trees cut down, roundabouts are the best way to move traffic from point A to point B. When we studied the one down here at Kings Way, it was the only way to move traffic and give that traffic level, what you call that level? An A traffic level, all the way to what year? 20. So we looked at that, and so that's. But
Okay.
We look forward to educating our folks on what the best solution is, and
Okay.
letting them get input.
All right. Well, we'll just put that on hold for now and come back with some more information. And I got to believe, listen, I love roundabouts. Traffic light maintenance is a little bit cheaper there too. Okay, go ahead, Dave.
I want to close up with the dirt road paving, the last 4 projects. Dirt road paving, the amount of dirt road paving on the island, 0.38 miles. So some very small roads that were overlooked. And there's a couple of drainage issues we're looking at. And then the Pinnock Road, we'll try to pave as much as the money allows. Then we have the animal control facility, $1.5 million there. And the Veterans Memorial, the courthouse parking improvements, $1.5 million on those 2 projects. And one RFP is already out, the other RFP is up. I think the RFP opens tomorrow for animal control. Subject to your questions.
Any other questions?
I just have a couple questions on the SPLOST, just general questions. First is when David opened up, Alan, he talked about $40 million and 5 has been collected thus far. To me, that suggested that there's apportionment of money that's coming in. How is that being apportioned?
Yes, sir. So when the county receives a check, we then cut 3 checks. The first one is to the city of Brunswick, and they get a check for 19.32% of whatever that receipt is. Then after that, the amount left, I think it's around 25 or somewhere in that neighborhood percent. We cut a check to JWSC for their portion. And then the third and final check is to Jekyll Island Authority. Their total cut is $2.3 million, but that's on a percentage basis. You agreed that, you approved that agreement 1 or 2 meetings ago. So that's the way it works. And then we have the money, our portion accumulating in the account's interest-bearing account. And in that portion, so what we're trying to, our method, as you can see on this sheet, is to try to get everything designed as quickly as possible, and then we can make decisions on which to move forward. One of the reasons why we want to have the resurfacing on Demery Road from Seattle to Frederica and also Norwich this fall is so the public can see that we are doing something. And a lot of the SPOS projects just take time, to design, but there are things that we can be doing. So we want to get some asphalt on the ground so the public can see the project, some progress is being made, because it's hard for them to see, the intangible of the design process.
So this $5 million that David said is already on hand, that's after the portion that's gone to the others, correct?
Yes.
That's good.
1.7.
So we should be able to move forward with Norwich and Demery, correct?
There's no question about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, okay, that's good.
We're
Second,
holding on Demery for, we've got a couple of things to incorporate on Demery. One is the timber cut, which looks like they may not move on that, and the other one is the water line in the road, which we found out is transite, and we've had some challenges compacting over transite pipes. So we have some challenges.
sure. Now, if it was easy, I'd be doing it, you wouldn't be doing it, you know? I'd be, yeah, exactly, right. So, the last question is, well, what about this, the SPLOST Oversight Committee? Now, is their role to make sure the money's being spent appropriately, or is it to oversee the work product that's being produced, or oversee the planning that's being done? What is their role?
That's a really good question. I don't have the bylaws or the charge to the committee with me, but the way I like to look at their role is to review the work that is being done, not necessarily the construction work, but just the whole process, and report periodically to the citizens that SPLOS 2016 is being done in accordance with what we said we were going to do. That's the way I look at it.
Okay.
And they have met, they've met 3 times.
Right.
They meet again October 18th.
Right, I've seen some email traffic after those meetings, just trying to get my head around, as we have meetings like this, how they interface with their meetings and their concerns.
Do we prepare information for them in a summary form that laymen can understand about the projects? I mean, because if folk are not used to talking about construction projects, they may not know how to communicate that to the public so that the public understands, other than to say, well, they working on it. I mean, so can we provide something for them, some talking points for them to use and maybe hand out for discussion purposes to folks?
Each meeting, we go over this matrix and talk to them about where we are. One of the things that they have to do as a committee is to develop their communication strategy. I know that's on Rodney Perry's list of things to do. We're glad to provide anything that they need. One of the things they've asked for is a copy of every RFP that we send out, every bid that we send out.
That's good.
So we're sending them a voluminous amount of material, for their review. I don't know that that's really necessary from my standpoint. To me, what I think is necessary is the RFP being sent out. Not necessarily what's in the RFP, but the RFP is a public document. We're glad to share it with anybody. And it's certainly their prerogative of what documents they look at. I'm not really sure I understand that, but we're glad to share. So.
Well, my whole idea about having a oversight, if you will, SPLOST Oversight Committee was to have a voice, separated from this board that could tell the community that we're actually doing the projects we said we were going to do if you support this SPLOST, and that we're spending that money exactly on those projects. Yeah, I'm kind of like you. If they want to get down into the weeds, so be
Yeah,
it. You know, but at the end of the day,
Well, on the same lines, what the commissioner's saying is, like this planning stage, nobody sees us planning. So if they miss the article in the paper tomorrow about what we discussed here, they have no clue. But this committee is a group that goes, oh yeah, they are. They're working on this.
Yeah.
And they're getting the reports like we're getting them.
Are they pretty well mirroring the operation of East Bloss Committee, Oversight Committee? Is that was sort of the framework of our original concept of East Bloss, and it had worked extraordinarily well. Obviously, we're building schools all over the place, and so I assume that they're
The charge mirrors it. I've never
Yeah.
participated in East Moss meetings, so I can't say from a practical standpoint.
Yeah.
But certainly the charge tool was modeled after the East Moss.
Yeah, well, I think that's where the idea.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
sorry, just for clarification, 5.3 is what we've received to date. The county's portion is $3 million.
Okay, thank you. What percentage goes to JWSC? I missed that.
It's 24, 25.
25.97.
25.
the county gets about 53%, right?
Take off the top, City of Brunswick 19.32, and then after what's remaining, JWSC gets 25.97, and Jekyll Island gets 3.98%. So it's about 53%.
Okay.
We get about 53%.
I'll
All right.
calculate it.
Mike's got his calculator out, so be careful.
I did that in my head.
Any other discussion on the SPLOST 2016?
I was making a phone call.
Any other? Okay, Dave, we'll be looking for the traffic study and the further information on the roundabouts and those things. Okay. Moving right along here. Discussion of the comprehensive plan, ground rules, and appointment process. Let me start this one at Genesis here, and then Mr. Howard, you want to take it and go? Oh, okay. Pam's going to do it. Pam, if I may just begin with a public notice. There had been some confusion on the public notice, but basically, there were two vehicles in order to get people into the process. And one was, if you would like to be considered for appointment by the Board of Commissioners, submit your letter and resume to the county clerk, it's over street. And the other was, if you prefer to apply through the blind application process, you would submit through the Survey Monkey online process. Two totally different processes. And basically, what we're going to be considering on Thursday night is the first process, which are the appointments that were made to the county clerk. And so, with that, Ms. Thompson, I'll just turn it over to you.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. So, what I wanted to do this afternoon was speak to you about all of the actions that are going to happen Thursday night relative to the comprehensive plan. The first thing that will show up on your agenda is the public hearing for the comprehensive plan. The purpose of that hearing is to brief the community on the process to be used to develop the comprehensive plan, to discuss opportunities for public participation in development of the plan, and to obtain input on the proposed planning process. We must prepare this plan in accordance with DCA guidelines. DCA requires a minimum of 2 public hearings, and this is the first. Their minimum requirement is 1 public hearing at the beginning of the process and 1 public hearing prior to the adoption. Any community may choose to have more than that. Glynn County has planned for 2 full-day community open house events, one on the mainland and one on St. Simon's Island, to allow for citizens to drop in, see the progress made by the steering committee, provide their own comments and input. The open houses will have county staff and consultants present for the entire time, with different stations set up around the room to allow for comments on various topics that the comprehensive plan would cover. All of those comments will be captured and provided to the appropriate steering committees. Comments can be sent at any time throughout this process to the Community Development Department versus via postal mail, or electronic mail can be sent to an email address that's been set up for this, complan@glenncounty-ga.gov. So that will be a public hearing. The consultants that we've hired will present a summary of that to you and then answer any questions you have, and then the public hearing will be held. The second item, the next three items will be under your general business. The second is the adoption of steering committee appointment procedures and ground rules. This will provide the framework for the operation of the two steering committees. The ground rules cover the purpose of the committees, courtesy, meeting schedule, staffing, duties, decision-making, quorum, spokesperson, meaning that from time to time, we may ask some of the members of those steering committees to go speak to different groups or go reach out to different stakeholders to get input for the plan, public involvement at the meetings. The third item that will be on your agenda is appointment of the Mainland Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee. Each Board of Commissioner member will nominate a citizen to serve, and the Board of Commissioners will vote on the slate. County staff will then announce the 3 MPC members that have been chosen by the chair for that committee and the 7 citizens appointed through the blind process. The last item on your agenda Thursday evening will be appointment of the Islands Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee. Again, each Board of Commissioners member will nominate a citizen to serve, and the Board of Commissioners will vote on the slate. County staff will then announce the 3 IPC members that will serve on that and 7 citizens appointed through the blind process. And to provide you a brief summary, we did have a good response. Again, community development staff has not seen any of the blind surveys. We have the general demographic information. Only one of the consultants actually saw the names attached to the information. He separated those, and then he provided the other consultant with a numbered list of the demographic information and the answers provided through that survey. They then selected people based on separately the St. Simon's demographic information and the Mainland demographic information. So the summary today, for the island applications, we had 45 total applications. 26 of those were males, 19 were females. 8 of those were in the age range 35 to 49. 16 were in the age range 50 to 64, and 21 were 65 or up. Of those 45 applications, 38 were white, 2 were African American, 1 was Asian Pacific Islander, and 4 chose to not respond to that question. On the mainland, there were 28 total applications submitted, 13 males and 15 females. There was 1 respondent that was between the ages of 20 and 34, 14 that were between the ages of 35 to 49, 8 that were between the ages of 50 to 64, and 5 that were 65 or older. Of those respondents, 18 were white, 9 were African American, and 1 was 2 or more races. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have about Thursday evening.
When you mentioned vote on the slate, are we voting on the entire, as each commissioner has nominated the 7 people, are we voting on all 7 at one time, or are we voting each nomination one at a time?
My understanding was we were voting on each one individually.
Okay. So that's
It's going to be a,
It's gonna be a long meeting.
pizza.
slate, I just thought.
Yeah, that's what.
Slate.
Yeah,
We're doing
but I
the
think we had talked about each individually. So that's the way we're going to pull that trigger.
Okay.
Now for the planning commissions, I guess we'll vote on the slate for that, will we not? Are we going to vote each one individually on the planning commission? Okay.
No, sir. Each chairperson of the planning commission appointed 3 members.
So we don't approve that at all?
No, sir.
That's not our, okay, we don't vote on that, okay?
And you don't take a vote.
We
on
don't
the
ratify that, we
selection.
don't do, okay,
No, sir.
all right. Okay. Anybody got any questions about the ground rules? I think that's a good report, thank you. I think that,
I would say if by chance somebody is chosen or considered, if they're already serving on some other county committee or commission, they can't serve on this, can they?
Only if they're selected through the blind process.
Oh.
If they're
They
selected
can?
through the blind process, they can, but they cannot be appointed by the Board of Commissioners and serve on more than one committee, or serve on any other committee, excuse me.
Okay. Thank you, Richard.
No problem, sir. Anything for you. my favorite.
Then you can flip a coin as to whether that's factual or not.
Thanks, sir, Mr. Chairman.
But he sounded like he knew what he was talking about.
Well, we have to do it that way because if you don't, nobody from the planning commission is concerned.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right, any other questions? Thank you, man. Appreciate all your hard work on this. It sounds like we've got the ball rolling here. All right, the next and final item is consideration of the airport audit. You want to take that?
Have a good time, Pam.
Sir?
I said, have a good time.
Yes, sir. You feel free to join me at IPC this evening.
That's all I'll pass, thank you.
All right, Commissioner Browning, you want to?
Yeah, I'd like to, I don't know if somebody else had anything to say about this, but we've talked about this thing a number of times and all, and after careful consideration, if the chairman is agreeable, I'd like to make a motion that Glynn County take over the audit functions, annual audit functions of the airport.
The Glynn County Auditor is.
That the Glynn County Auditor.
I'll second that motion.
I'd like to see us just move forward and do it, and quit talking about it.
Are you referring, thank you for the motion, are you referring to the group that does our audit also does the airport, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I know
same
you
auditor,
hired
same auditing firm.
Okay, gotcha.
The, okay, we got a motion, we got a second. Any discussion?
Do you have any comments about it there, Ms. CFO? Or?
No, sir, I think that's fantastic.
All right, let me just make a couple of comments. Number one is the airport will continue to pay for their audit. And the other thing that I know that Ms. Miller has been in conversation with the folks at the airport and understand that the airport audit has a great deal more oversight than the county's audit. It is audited by the Federal Aviation Administration as well as the GDOT. There are things that have to be in compliance with those two organizations, and it requires a greater level of scrutiny than the normal audit. So that RFP will need to include particularly the assurances that the Airport Commission has to give to the FAA and the GDOT when grants are there, and that is a major part of the airport audit. So with that having been said, is there any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of, we got everybody here? All those in favor of the airport audit, Commissioner Brownings-Murphy being the same as the auditor for the county, signify by raising your right hand.
2018.
Ma'am?
2018 forward.
2018 forward, I'm sorry. Yeah, not this year's already obviously under process. I just want to make a couple of comments. The airport audit in the last, I guess for the last 20 years, they have had 6 different auditing firms that have audited that. Firms like Malden and Jenkins that are regional firms. The firm that's doing ours, KRT, has done their audit, and various others. They've had just a handful of findings that have been there. And I think one of the reasons that they don't have any findings and per se, certainly no significant findings, and they don't have any repeat findings, is that they have a very, very active and proactive audit committee that goes through the audit every year. Ironically, they had a finding here in the last audit, and it was that they had not memorialized their audit committee. I don't know how they could have been so neglectful in not officially making an audit committee there, but they had not memorialized it, and so they took care of that with a resolution, and so now they have an official audit committee that they actually had an audit committee for the whole time, but now it is official. So with that having been said, motion to adjourn.
Oh, yeah.
Who has a full-time audit committee?
So what?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Airport.
The airport has a full-time audit committee?
So you were making a point, Mr. Chair, about
How did
the
you
fact that we,
Well, it was a close vote.
yeah.
Thank you, John.
How are you so perceptive?
Keep up the good work.
So you're happy with that? You're good
That's
with
fine with me.